What's up, everybody? This is Talkin All That Kazz, and I am DJ Kazzeo. I want to thank you for checking out this particular episode of Talkin All That Kazz. On this particular episode, I got another great interview that I conducted here on my radio show at 90.9 FM, KHTC in Salinas, California. But before we get going with that, I want you to go to this address, djkazzeo.com, and connect with me on social media. Whether it's on my Facebook, on my Instagram, on my Twitter, or even if you go and subscribe to my Mixcloud channel, you can hear all my radio shows that I do in their entirety, music, commentary, and interviews. But this right here, Talkin All That Kazz, this is for just the interviews, okay? I want to thank everybody who checked out the first round of interviews that I put up. Now we're on to the second round. This particular round, I'm going to focus on 2019, but I'm going to sprinkle it in with some more current stuff too. So you never know what you're going to get. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy another edition of Talkin All That Kazz with me, DJ Kazzeo.
39. Okay?
That's right.
Now, we need to go to the phone lines,
Yes.
because we have a very special guest joining us, legendary
Yes.
West Coast hip-hop individual. He goes by the name of DJ Cli-N-Tel. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How y'all doing tonight?
We are well, man.
Yeah.
Yours truly, Kazzeo, right here. I got my man V-Dog joining
What's
us.
What's
You
up?
know, so we definitely appreciate you taking the time to call
Yeah,
in tonight.
definitely.
A lot of things to discuss with you,
sir.
including the brand new book, the title of which is...
The autobiography, essays, and writings of a modern-day Renaissance man.
That's right.
Mouthful.
That's right. He's like a lot more important than I am. That's for sure, man. That's for sure. So first and foremost, man, Cli-N-Tel, I want to go back to the very beginning. You know, it's interesting. I was reading in the book, and you talked about early on. You were very enchanted, I guess is a good word to use, with taking electronics apart and putting them back together.
Yes, sir.
I believe I also read the same thing or saw in an interview with Grandmaster Flash.
Yes.
That's how he, I believe Flash is the one who created the crossfader for the mixer.
Yeah.
You know, talk to me, you know, about what drove you to being so influenced by electronics like that.
Yeah, I believe it was actually, the Q points, something like that with Flash. But, yeah, man, it used to drive my family crazy because I used to, you know, like radios and, you know, toys and you name it. I would just take them apart and try to figure out how they work, what was inside. And I wanted to know, you know, what was going on with that thing and why did it do what it did, you know, and little transistor parts and, you know, resistor parts and all of that stuff, man. I would just take them apart. Sometimes I could fix them, sometimes I couldn't. So, you know, then, you know, moms would have to go out and buy another radio, or my, you know, sisters and brothers would have to get new toys because I just, you know, I would do that all the time, man.
They must have been pretty upset with you when payday wasn't for a couple weeks and you had like broken everything apart.
Exactly. You know, all the stuff laying on the floor and all in little pieces and stuff. Sure.
Right. So, you know, you move on from that, and I guess the next step would be becoming a DJ. Would that be the next step?
Well, yeah, which was a, you know, sort of a natural progression because, you know, once I got bitten by the hip hop bug, you know, hearing you know, Rapper's Delight, you know, I was on the schoolyard. I think we were playing, you know, soccer or something on the field, and a car rolled by, just bumping, you know. I said, the hip. And I said, oh, what is that?
Right.
And so all my friends, we started talking about it and everything. I said, I got to cop that record. So I went, got it, man, and then, you know, loved rap from there and started to love the hip-hop music. And then I formed a little DJ crew with Joe Cooley, who lived in the same, you know,
Nice.
apartment complex. It was like a public housing, you know, called the Ujima Village. And he lived on the side we call Clovis, and then I lived on the side we call Wadsworth. And so, yeah, we formed our own little crew and started putting our little money together. But even before that, me and my cousin had a little clique, you know, that we called ourselves the Three Rappeteers, me, him, and my buddy Midnight. And, you know, so after that, then I got into DJing and, you know, started playing music, little house parties, backyard parties, and that kind of thing. And then, we graduated from there to high school dances, and then we started promoting our own parties at clubs, and sky's the limit from there.
Now, if I recall correctly, you mentioned that there were a family member, possibly a stepdad or something, who had some connection to music, who encouraged you to go that route.
Well, my father was a horn player in high school, and my grandfather, Curtis Knight.
That's it. The grandfather.
Yeah. Right? His real name was actually Curtis McNear, but for the stage, his name was Curtis Knight. He was in a band with Jimi Hendrix. He actually discovered Jimmy one day when Jimmy was sitting in a hotel lobby in New York. Mm-hmm. And he just said, Jimmy looked like a musician, and he was my grandfather was doing a session next door at a recording studio, and he just walked up to Jimmy and said, "Hey man, I need a guitar player. You look like a musician." And Jimmy said, "Yeah, I happen to play the guitar," but Jimmy was left-handed, so my grandfather went to his car, because Jimmy had hocked all of his equipment at that time. And grandfather went to his car, loaned him his guitar. They flipped it around, fixed it to where Jimmy could play left-handed, and they were best friends ever since then. My grandmother was in a gospel singing group, so I'm related to the Hawkins family. That whole song, "Oh Happy Day." So music has always been in my DNA, and my stepfather did encourage me, because he would listen to Dolomite, and he would rap all the time. He'd say them little slick rhymes, those little street, the little street hustler type rhymes all the time, around the house. And
right.
I just picked up on that, man, and that's how I got into it.
That's the story right there, man, for sure. So it's interesting that you mentioned it. It's so weird that not only were like the apartment complexes kind of divided into like two quote unquote names. It was also you detail kind of how apartment complexes were, even if they were in close proximity, like half would be one gang and half would be another gang, right?
Oh yeah. We had rivals, on both sides, and sometimes we, get in the middle of the big field. That's what we called it. It was this big patch of grass right in the middle, and we'd have football games, baseball games, then we had a basketball court back there. Sometimes it got heated.
Right.
And a few fights broke out, but it's all good. I'm cool with all of them today. But back then, little knuckleheads, we just out there, doing our thing, man, and being stupid.
Yeah, I would definitely think if one side of the apartment complex is one gang and the other side is another gang, if there's a football field in the middle, there's going to be a rumble.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
There's going to be something like that. So, with the music and everything going, at what point, I know, Uncle Jam's Army was huge, and Roger Clayton and them, but I mean, I can't recall or not, you weren't part of Uncle Jam's Army, right? You were just a fan, right?
Well, during high school, Uncle Jam's Army, they were popular. They were the popular sort of DJ crew. They were the biggest known DJ crew, other than like Z-Car Productions and some other crews that was in the South Bay area. Mm-hmm. And so we would go to their dance, and as DJs or wannabe DJs, we would always check out like the turntables, what they were mixing with, what equipment they were using, so we'd sidle up. This me, Joe Cooley, and cats, we'd sidle up next to the DJ booth, be looking over, see in the crate, see what what music they were playing, what 12 inches they had. We're just picking up all kind of information, doing our intel, and Egyptian Lover, he was like the main dude, back then in Uncle Jam's Army. So, we watch him and watch their little show that they would have, their little routines. Him and Roger Clayton would have. They come out and there were no necessarily featured artists at that time. It was just them, and they just knew how to keep the party going and kept the crowd engaged and stuff like that. So he's like, yeah, that's what we want to do. We got to do that.
Right, because at that time they were like holding like huge events, like at the LA, the Civic Center, I believe it was, or the arena.
Yeah, the sports arena.
Right, sports arena. That's right.
Yep.
So they're like
right there by the Coliseum.
Yeah, so they're bringing in like 2,000 people or more to these events. I mean, how does that go into like what they were doing? How did you incorporate that into, on a smaller scale, what you guys were starting to put together?
Well, it gave us a goal to shoot for. But we had to start off small because we didn't have any money. We were broke. We were in high school, so we just pulled our resources together, and bought some equipment, bought turntables, borrowed, mixers and compressors and faders from people. Sometimes we steal, our parents' amp and take that with us, and we just hustle up gigs, man. Somebody might be doing having a birthday, so we do a birthday party, and we weren't making that much, $50 split between 4 of us. We'd go out, after that, go buy a burger, and, something like that, just kick it. But we were learning, as we went along, we were learning how to be organized. We were learning how to, run a business, basically. Mm-hmm. And just as more people started to join our little crew, we had more information. And then we were able to yo, man, so-and-so's doing this kind of dance, or so-and-so needs a DJ. So it was a lot of word of mouth, and we got some business cards together. We were trying to do our little thing, man. We didn't have any guidance or anybody really telling us what to do. Mm-hmm. We were just using our own wits and resources to try to make things happen. So as we started to scale it up, we started to get a reputation in the Compton area. And,
right.
Then people started just, requesting us. I want that crew. I want the Invasion Force, because we had patterned ourselves after, Soul Sonic Force, But people started requesting us more, and we had a little bit of a name, back then in Compton.
Yeah, pre-social media days too, mind you. I mean, you did not have those channels back then.
Man, the social media was the soles on your feet.
Yeah.
You walking and talking.
Word of mouth, like you said.
The social media was having a handful of quarters and a little black book, and you go to a payphone and you call as many people as you could before you ran out of change. That's was social media.
Because there were no cell phones back then either.
No.
So you had to use it, either your phone at home or, like you say, a pay phone at a phone booth or something like that. And we had pagers and beepers back then. Like, people could beep you and then you respond. But that's pretty much what it was.
You had mentioned the word organizing. How important is organization to doing what it is you guys are trying to do? Because I see so many young kids now trying to put together shows, and they just figure oh, I'm just gonna throw something and people will come. There's no structure to what they do, and then they only end up doing one show and then they're out of business.
Yeah, planning, presentation, and follow through. Planning, presentation, and follow through. And having a plan, executing that plan, and having a really good presentation from beginning to end, because it's all about telling the story, right?
Mm-hmm,
Everything that you're doing is you're telling the story, and you want your audience walking into that venue or experiencing whatever it is your project you're putting together, you want them to be able to experience that story. And then following through, man. And that's where a lot of people get caught up. They might plan it out, they may have a presentation, but then maybe they don't follow through with it and just follow through with the whole presentation of that plan. And it really gets to a point where then now you may only get one shot at it, and if you mess it up, then people may not want to fool with you again, because people just don't have that kind of time. So it is really important to be organized, to make sure that everybody is in the loop, and that everybody understands, almost to a point where you're over planning or over emphasizing the organizational piece, because you never know, somebody might miss a thing or two, and that could mess everything up. But that's really important to be organized.
Exactly, man. Exactly. I one of the other things I thought was really important that you detailed in the book was that your mom, even though she was hard at work and trying to support multiple children all by herself, she always managed to make sure that you were involved in extracurricular activities as to keep yourself away from bad choices, so to speak. Why do you think somewhere in the mid 80s up till now, it's that thought process really doesn't exist with families? Why is that?
Yeah, it's a shame, too, because we're losing a lot of bright people to the streets, and to that mentality and the lack of knowledge of self. And my mother, she just made sure that she instilled in us a very strong sense of who we were, but also kept us into activities and allowed us to experience other things than just our 4 square block area, where you could be influenced easily by, you know, a lot of the stuff that went on the streets or the stuff that went on in the neighborhood. And believe me, I saw a lot. I mean, I've had, you know, walk, you know, home and seen somebody laid out, you know, with bullet holes in their head, you know, brain splattered, you know, on the ground.
Damn.
I had somebody I had just talked to like a couple of hours before, you know, or, you know, I'd been shot at a couple of times myself, you know. So it's keeping us, you know, busy and keeping us out of, you know, those circumstances is really important. So yeah, she made sure we stayed in, you know, in sports or in, you know, in acting or, you know, music or whatever it was to keep us off the streets. I mean, I was stupid enough as a knucklehead to try to, you know, gangbang for 2 days. But you know, even the homies is like, nah, man, this ain't for you, bro. Because, you know, if your mom's found out, man, we don't want to deal with her. So you better just stay out of this. Go on, do that music, you know, and stick to that. Because, yeah, this ain't. And I was like, yeah, y'all right. This, you know, this ain't for me. So, but yeah, man, it was so important. Well, but I had a foundation. To, you know, to really make sure that, you know, I didn't get involved in that kind of stuff.
So, for me, only not having read your book, I'm very sorry. I will, because I have a copy right in front of me. But cool. Yes, from Kazz. And but I was gonna say, so we're like, you know, you touched on that. So were there any other peer pressure, a lot of stuff going on, like drugs? Was that ever a distraction or anything like that?
Well, see, you know, at that time, 95% of the people in the hood did not gangbang. Right.
Oh, right. Okay.
This was in the early 80s.
Right.
It wasn't until like maybe 85, 86, 87 when the drug trade shifted from the East Coast to the West Coast. And, you know, you start seeing little cats, you know, 14, 15, 16 years old with a wad of money in their pocket, you know, rolling around in a, you know, a brand new, you know, car or hooked up with some, you know, fat ass 20-inch rims or something like that. You'd be like, oh man, how did that happen? You know, where did that come from? And you start to realize, oh my goodness, okay, I see what they're doing. They must be, you know, involved in, you know, street pharmaceuticals. So then you had the same cat sort of protecting certain territories, and then it became like, all right, this is serious now. And then next thing you know, you start hearing about folks dying and get killed over, you know, stuff like that. Then you realize that it was serious. But see, like I said, because I already had a foundation, you know, I knew that kind of lifestyle wasn't the kind of lifestyle.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew I had other options, and I was going to make sure I explored those options, you know, bar none, because like I said, you know, jail and drugs, it just wasn't a thing that, you know, my family and stuff like that would even, you know, support. So that was nothing that we
that's
got
good.
into.
Exactly.
It's rare you hear that, so that's awesome.
Exactly. Well, in Explore you did. I want you to hold the line real quick. We got to take a real quick pause for the cause and run a quick public service announcement. Once again, we're talking to the legendary DJ Cli-N-Tel from the back in the world-class Wrecking Crew days, and even more beyond that. He's got a brand new book out called...
Hold on, here we go. The Autobiography, Essays, and Writings of a Modern-Day Renaissance Man.
Exactly. Available now on Amazon, so go pick that up.
Definitely.
Cli-N-Tel, hold on the line, and we'll be back in just a second, all right?
For sure.
That's right. We are back in the place right now. It is 90.9 FM. KHDC, Radio Bligway right here in Salinas, Santa Cruz, and Monterey. 104.1 FM out there in Hollister, San Juan Bautista, and South Gilroy, and streaming live everywhere.
On WednesdayRec.com. Shout out to M7 for making that happen for us.
That's right, man. Back in the place. We're still joined by the one and only DJ Cli-N-Tel. You're still there with us, right?
Yes, sir. And shout out, man, to Salinas and Monterey and Hollister, and Gilroy and Seaside. That's my old stuffing grounds, man. I lived there for a while, so the Central Coast is always near and dear to my heart, man, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You had mentioned that to me. What was it about the area that drove you? I mean, what was it that brought you out here?
It was for some stuff I was working on with a media company out there, and it was a lot of fun, man. Good times. Beautiful place, man.
Very true.
The coastline is beautiful. The water's beautiful. So yeah, I enjoyed my time out there.
No question about that. Real quick, are you listening to the web stream right now?
No.
Okay, because there was a little bit of a feedback coming through earlier, but it kind of went away. So I guess whatever happened was good. Okay. But nonetheless, all right, man. Get back into the book and what you got going on. How exactly did your involvement with World Class Wrecking Crew all come about?
Yeah, so one week we would also, in addition to going to watch Uncle Jam's Army, we would also go and watch the Wrecking Crew, because at that time the Wrecking Crew was just a DJ crew. It consisted of DJ Yella, a cat named Dr. Rock, another guy named Rappenstein or DK, Unknown DJ, and Master Lonzo. And it was, a few other guys that rotated in and out. But they were local. They were in our hood or in our city. So me and Joe and the guys, we'd go up there and go to the parties and watch them over at EU After Dark. We really wouldn't even go there to dance. We would go there just to watch the DJs. And the premier DJ at that time was DJ Yella. So one weekend we went there and Lonzo made an announcement. He said, next week we're going to have a rap contest. And, it's going to be $100. And, you come with your best rhymes. We're going to win, you win this $100. So me and a homeboy of mine named McKinley, we used to always rap together like Double Trouble. We do harmony raps like Treacherous 3 and stuff like that. So we were like, oh man, yeah, we're gonna win this contest. So went home, worked on a routine all week long, had it down tight, ready to go. He called me that day. Hey man, I can't make it. Why not? Oh man, I'm tied up. I got stuff to do. Moms ain't gonna let me. I was like, oh man. So he flaked on me. So I'm like, man, what am I supposed to do? He said, man, we'll just do one of those raps you do, with Joe, because me and Joe used to have this routine where he would DJ and I would rap and we would do this thing with the crowd. So I went up there that night, and what I noticed, all the MCs, they were getting up, they were cool. But what I noticed was that none of them were really engaging the crowd. They weren't working the crowd. They weren't doing the call and response. They just talked, yeah, baby, I got the feeler, I got the Gucci, all that kind of stuff, right? So I said, oh, okay, I got this. Got up there, started engaging the crowd, doing some call and response stuff, went through a whole little routine that I do, nice. With that, and the crowd loved it. And mind you, at that time, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-olds could party all night long. You can go, parents drop you off at 10 at night, you could party all the way to 6 in the morning. Mm-hmm. So it was lit up in there, and it was dope. Plus I had a few homies from my neighborhood there too as well. And so did that, won the contest. And, Lonzo, yeah, congratulations, this guy won. So I'm like, all right, yeah, that's cool, I won. Where's my money? And so he didn't pay me my $100. So I'm like, okay. He's like, hey, man, that was great what you did, man. You're dope. I'm going to be working on some things. I want you to come back this Wednesday. And, I want to talk to you. I'm like, well, okay, this dude ain't paid me my money yet. So I'm coming Wednesday to get my money. So I went that Wednesday, and I noticed that it was a little skinny kid that was up there practicing on the turntables who I hadn't seen since junior high school. So I recognized him, but I went in and talked to Lonzo. He said, yeah, man, I'm going to be working on some songs, and I'm going to be doing this thing with a record label, and, I'm going to be doing some music, and, you're the person I've been looking for. I've been looking for, an artist like you. So I said, yeah, okay, that's cool and all that, but I'm still thinking in my mind, this dude ain't paid me my money.
Right, yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I didn't care about all the other stuff. So finally, he finally paid me my money, and I said, well, I said to myself, well, I'm with this other crew. Let me go talk to the guys first, then come back. But then I said, you know what? But if this dude is in it, I've been knowing from, junior high school, then it might be something good. So I talked to my guys about it. I said, hey, man, this might be something cool for all of us. If I get an opportunity, I'm going to pull y'all in, this and that and the third. So finally, I went back, joined up with the crew. And what Lonzo didn't know at the time, too, that I was also a DJ. So that was icing on the cake. So I was able to spin at the club, plus, do, some hosting and MCing. And finally we went into the studio and we cut our first record called Slice. That's how I joined the Wrecking Crew.
Nice. Right, yeah. So, I only got you for a couple more minutes here. So, couple last questions. One thing I noticed, you talk a lot about being around Dre and Ice Cube and Easy at the formation of when NWA was starting to come together. But one name that is never mentioned in the book is MC Ren. Is there an issue between the two of you?
Oh, absolutely not. No, Ren just wasn't. He was in and out at the time that I was, around. Ren really took a prominent role after sort of Ice Cube started moving away and doing some of his own stuff. Even though Ren was around, yes, but Ren sort of took a more prominent role later on. And then when they sort of split, Ren just kind of went off and did his own thing. Yeah. So there was a time where Ren and I didn't really overlap, but he did have a prominent role to play, sort of like in the later middle period.
Okay. It just seemed like he was the only one who wasn't mentioned in the book, so I just thought maybe there might have been something there.
Our sort of relationship came, later on.
Right. And the other thing I wanted to ask you about, tell me about the connection with the National Hip Hop Museum.
Yeah, so the Universal Hip Hop Museum, I sit on the advisory board.
Cool.
And I also head up sort of the West Coast team, as a facilitator to sort of disseminate information and just help sort of be a bridge, between East Coast, West Coast, and everything that's going on with the museum. But yeah, it's a museum designed for us, by us, specifically to secure the legacy of hip hop, but also to help to create the new history and pass on that fifth element, which is knowledge, and make sure that nothing gets marginalized. Even people whom we don't know about or didn't get the major record deals or didn't have the major deals still played a significant role, particularly early on in hip hop. And we just want to make sure that all those stories are included in the sort of like the whole family tree of hip hop. But that's what the museum is doing. We just opened a sort of a smaller version of it last night, believe it or not, in the Bronx, in New York, called the Revolution of Hip Hop, and that's going to be up for about 3 years until we actually we already broke ground on the main museum. Mm-hmm. And if folks want to know more about that, they can go to UHHM as in mark.org and read up on that and sign up to be a part of it and get the information and then, all of the notifications and stuff. But we started out with zero, managed to raise about $30 million to date, and we're on the way to making it happen.
It's a good amount
right there. In place. We're breaking ground next year on the building, so it's all good.
Awesome. So I got one last question here, and it's not necessarily hip hop related, but I didn't really quite see the detail for this on my end. You said that you went in the film and writing film, and what kind did you do, and how big did that get for you?
Well, I'm still there,
okay.
And it's just a natural progression from doing music videos and just directing stage plays and stuff like that. But yeah, I've had some successes with did a film called Kraken with Ronaldo Ray was in that. Nice. And also Lil Rel Howery was in that. I think that might have been his very first gig in Hollywood. That's you can find that on YouTube. And then producing a film right now called Blaze of the Muse. It's a 420 friendly comedy, and also another one on Albert Einstein. Believe it or not, it's just a wide range of projects that we're working on. So I helped co-write that as well. And we have a few other projects. I'm working on one with DJ Yella as well. And, folks will be hearing more about that soon. But yeah, I still, keep in contact with all the guys, and Cube and Dre and all those folks, and we're like brothers, and it's all good.
All right,
that's what's up, man. Well, I feel like we left a lot on the table because there's a lot of lot more things to talk about with you.
That's why folks got to read the book.
Yeah, very true.
Exactly,
myself included.
Exactly. The book is DJ Cli-N-Tel: The Autobiography and Essays and Writings of a Modern Day Renaissance Man. It's available on Amazon and various other online platforms.
Yeah, cool.
My website, they can go there at cli-n-tel.com. They can get it there too. And if the people want to just find me, they can get at me on Instagram at DJ_CLI_N_TEL.
Following you now.
And same thing at Twitter.
Cool. Exactly, man. Exactly. Well, one last thing before I let you go, and we get a sample of some of your classics in a little medley I put together. who are three LA-based electro groups you say don't get the proper recognition?
LA Dream Team is one.
Mm-hmm.
Do not get enough recognition.
Very
They're definitely, of course, Egyptian Lover. He's so instrumental in a lot of things, and there are a lot of things that people don't even know today, like with the Black Eyed Peas sampling some of his music and playing his stuff, which was major. And my man Arabian Prince, man, and then sort of a fourth to that. Can't forget him is Unknown DJ. Unknown likes to be incognito, and he's not on any social media or anything like that. But I'm always tooting his horn as well and letting people know how influential Unknown was in really the early, but also the early G-Funk sound.
Right.
Which, a lot of people don't give him credit for. So he was an innovator in a lot of ways. He needs to get a lot more recognition than he's gotten. He deserves a lot more.
Yeah, that's a great list right there. Three that stand out to me, as you said, DJ Unknown. I think Let's Jam, and the other one was it 808 Beats.
808 Beats.
Yeah, I think that was a classic. I also think Knights of the Turntables don't get the proper recognition.
Yeah, you're right. I agree. If you would have given me a top five, they would have been in my top five.
And the last one, they only had one record I know of, but it was so dope to me, was DEF, Def Momentum. I don't know if you remember that record. But there was a long time, there was a rumor that Dr. Dre had something to do with that group. Did he?
It's possible. But I will tell you this. If you ever go back and listen to Sweat by the Mechanic, that is Dr. Dre. He and I were simultaneously working with Unknown on the Techno Hop label at the same time, same year. I did 2030.
Right.
And he did Sweat by the Mechanic, and the Mechanic was Dre.
Okay, gotcha. That's another good question. The Best of Techno Hop comes out. That song, Sweat by the Mechanic, is on that, and it says the Best of Techno Hop Volume 1. Was there ever a Volume 2?
I'm not sure. But Unknown was known for that kind of stuff. He liked to do epic titles,
okay.
And make it look that way. That's what his imprint was all about.
Got you, man. Got you. Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to call in tonight. I know you got a million things on your plate. So, once again, man, thank you so much for taking the time.
We appreciate it, man.
Would love to.
Thank you.
Would love to have you back sometime to get more in depth and talk about some of the acting stuff you've done, because there were some interesting stories in there, and I'll just say one of them involves Brandy Norwood. So we could get into that next time, but let's jump into some of your classics, and I'm gonna be in touch with you later on tonight. I'll hit you up on Instagram, and we'll do a quick debriefing, so to speak. All right.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
Thank
Peace.
You.